You live now to a press conference. Governor Bob Ferguson detailing new guidelines and new rules regarding phones in public schools.
Students will not have access to their cell phones. In our schools, digital distractions are causing kids to miss what's written on the whiteboard. They're focusing more on memes than on math. Science supports what all parents know intuitively. 95% of teens have a smartphone, and research shows that 97% of those teens use them during school, often multiple times in an hour. Studies show school day phone use has a negative impact on student learning, ability to focus, attendance, and mental and emotional health. More than 70% of teachers nationwide think smartphones are a major problem in the classroom. Without phones, research shows students are more engaged socially and academically. And when bans are clear and consistent, both teachers and students report feeling more connected and more engaged. Studies show teenagers spend, on average, roughly a quarter of their school day on their cell phones. Over a school year, that's missing literally about 40 school instruction days lost. As a parent of teenager, and I'm speaking just as much as a governor as a parent, maybe a little more as a parent than as a governor, to be perfectly honest, I know parents are doing their best to manage cell phone use with their kids. And trust me, from experience, I know how challenging that can be. So I know for teachers, for schools, for parents, this is a big, challenging issue. So they need support. More than half of states across the country are moving in one direction and one direction only. They're passing laws to keep cell phones out of classrooms. Washington State is not one of them, and that must change in the next legislative session. I signed a bill at the end of the last legislative session related to cell phones in schools that essentially adopted a study. And, you know, when I signed that bill into law, I don't recall my exact words, but I made it very clear a certain level of frustration that another legislative session had gone by and we had not done something more than another study. This issue is too important to leave simply to a study. We need to be stepping up in the next legislative session. We're going to do that. My team's been working hard, reaching out to legislators and stakeholders all across the state. We're going to continue doing that. And that's part of the reason for this pretty early announcement. Typically, we don't make announcements about governor request legislation, which this will be, until we get much closer to the legislative session. We want to do it now to signify how important this is to me and my team, but also to build that coalition all across the state and make sure we go into the next legislative session prepared to get this passed. Maybe just one more thing I'll say is that, and I think, Zach, this was something I think I saw you read, or what you said in the papers, is I think you said something like, hey, you know, we don't allow smoking on planes anymore. There was a time when that was very common, right? Nobody thinks that's a good idea anymore, right? And I'm confident that in 10 years, and I think I'm paraphrasing you if I'm remembering correctly, I think Zach said, hey, in 10 years, no one's going to think cell phones in the classroom is a good idea. So we can either be the next state to get this passed, or we will be the last. I really believe that is the choice before us. And I am determined to use the bully pulpit of my office, to use the resources of my office. You'll be hearing about this all through this year. You'll hear about my State of the State address. We need to get this done. And I deeply appreciate everybody here who's standing in solidarity with this. And no one more than that than the principal of this school, who's going to speak from direct experience about, hey, what a change in policy can do for students, for student achievement, and for the entire atmosphere and culture of a school. Please give a round of applause for the principal of this wonderful institution. You're going to hear next from Zach. Thanks so much, Zach. Yeah.
Again, Zach Stoll, proud principal here at RESMS. I just want to say thank you so much to the governor for prioritizing our students' wellness and also removing barriers for kids to reach their full potential. And a huge shout out to Superintendent Schuldiner for just a couple of months in, saw a need, sat at the table, and implemented policy that went into play that supports all students here in Seattle Public Schools. So just thank you for your leadership. Just a couple years ago, we were living in perpetual crisis where students were unfortunately unsafe, our teacher capacity was low, and it felt like we were drinking from a fire hose based on all the challenges that follow cell phones. With that overwhelming approach, There were so many things that were happening that we just simply couldn't do our jobs. The amount of instructional minutes that were taken away from the challenges that cell phones bring, it just overwhelmed our system, and students weren't served. And so there was a specific time, and I think some of you guys may have heard this, but there was a specific time where we needed to do something different. So I ended up leaving cell phones here and taking our 8th graders out to camp. And at camp, I saw a few students that were complete different students, just absolutely different, and you couldn't unsee it. So I went over to this one girl and I said, who is this? Who the heck is this? Because that's not the person that's walking up and down these hallways. And the kiddo said to me, I can't be myself at school. I can't be myself. I'm always under the pressure of having a picture taken. I don't want to present in front of a class. Somebody may take a picture of me when I'm opening my mouth at lunch. And it just felt like these students have to wear these masks. And it's like, how do you reach your full potential and be your best self if that's how you're having to live? And that was outside of the constant fights and challenges that were happening. So when we went away for the day, it gave our culture breathing room and cultivated kind of this robust, special place that we have now. Our kiddos the classrooms are more vibrant, students are engaging, there's more social time, and at the end of the day, student success is up, our climate data is up, our test scores is up, and I'm seeing kids smile at rates that we've never seen before. In my office, before I head off of this, in my office there's a kind of a vision board of the school year that my staff and students help co-design as we have our roadmap to hope here. And so that roadmap has quotes from students and staff, and there's 2 quotes that specifically popped out to me. One was 2 weeks after we implemented our policy, students came to my office and said, Stowell, kids are not who they used to be anymore. Kids started to recognize that other kids, the kindness and humanity was starting to come out. The other one was from a student named Zoe Taggart, and I'm not going to paraphrase. I'm going to have Zoe speak for themselves. And without further ado, I'd like to give a round of applause for my student that is open to sharing their thoughts and their words. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I know y'all talking about with these phones. I feel y'all. My name is Zoe. I'm a 7th grade student at Robert Eaglestadt Middle School. Before coming here, I went to schools where students could use their phones during the day. At first, I thought being a phone-free school, it could be boring. Like, it just might be a challenge. And then I thought about a phone-free school, like it could be difficult, but there are times when I wish I had my phone, but over time I realized something more important. When phones aren't around, you notice everything else that is. At our school, we spend more time talking to each other, building friendships and relationships in the present day. Instead of texting someone who's right down the hall, we actually go down and find them and have a real conversation. Those small moments help people feel connected like they belong. I've also noticed that students seem happier and less stressed. They're not consistently worried about notifications, social media, or getting a text that can change their whole mood in seconds. During the day, we get a break from all of that and can focus on our learning, friends, and more. And those small moments help people feel like they're connected and they belong. I've also noticed that one of the biggest differences I notice in the hallways at schools with phones, people are often looking down at screens. Almost seems like they're zombies. Social media or a text is just all around us. Here, people are looking up, they're smiling, saying hi to each other, and actually interacting. It feels more real. Phones will always be a part of our lives, but I believe we should be a place that students can focus, build relationships, and learn how to connect with people around them. I'm able to focus more. I feel like I'm a better student with my phone out of sight, and that's why I support phone-free schools.
Good morning. My name is Manuel Sly. I am a Latino community leader and education advocate. I'm here to support cell phone-free schools and classrooms. As a member of Seattle Council PTSA, I listen to parents and their concerns when they see their children not able to reach their full potential because of all the distractions in the classroom. I also hear from teachers and their frustration that they have to manage cell phones while trying to teach a class. And then myself as a parent, I have encountered challenges trying to get my kids to focus and to be present when there's cell phones all over the place. place. So I'm here today to fully support this effort. I believe that our students in Washington State are ready to learn and to thrive and to connect and make real relationships with their classrooms and teachers and environments and peers without the distractions of cell phones. So I want to say this: the responsibility to teach kids the proper use of cell phones is shared with families, parents, schools, and communities. I think that we can do a better job together, and this is a very important first step. Well, I have done some steps, but this is a good step, a statewide effort. So thank you very much. Thank you, Governor Ferguson, for and everyone that has worked and support this effort. Gracias.
Good morning. I'm Larry Delaney, president of the Washington Education Association. We represent 84,000 educators and have a footprint in every community in the state. It's important to note that Washington's educators are dedicated to making learning fun and engaging, but we can't compete with the dopamine hits that devices give our students. App and phone designers have invested billions and done deep research to figure out how to grab our attention. And that effect is even more severe on children who have yet to develop the ability to filter the barrage of incoming information. I'm proud of the work that our state's educators do on a daily basis. Their creativity is unmatched. But no amount of gamifying or enhancing lessons will offer the stimulation that the latest TikTok trend will. I'm 57 years old, and I find myself getting sucked in. We know that big tech has created a system that is designed to get us addicted. The algorithms are no joke. If we want students to learn, we need to turn off devices. Earlier this year, I was at a middle school in the West Valley School District in Yakima, and I was talking with the building principal about their policy. They had just implemented a bell-to-bell policy, and he said, let's take a look. We walked into the cafeteria. Kids were talking with one another. Said a year ago, half of the students would have had their faces buried in screens. As I walked in here today and I saw the pile of games over there that come out during lunch, kids are not on their phones. They're playing games. They're talking with one another. This issue has become a priority for WEA, and just last April, nearly 1,000 educators gathered in Spokane at our annual rep assembly and passed a resolution almost unanimously to make it WEA's position that we support a statewide away for the day cell phone policy so that students can focus on learning, growing, and reaching their full potential. We owe it to our students to make this happen. Governor, thank you for your leadership on this.
Hi there. My name is Stephen Payne. I'm a math teacher here at Robert Eagle Staff Middle School, and I'm coming to the end of my 21st year of teaching. And last year was my 20th year of teaching, and a lot of good things happened last year. Number one, Zoe was in my 6th grade math class, and I can attest that I witnessed Zoe and her classmates build relationships with people that they may not have built relationships with in the past. They joked around with each other, worked on math together. And in the hallway, she's correct. Students have their heads up, they're communicating with each other, and it feels much more of a human-friendly place here. Last year was kind of a career-defining moment for me as a teacher. Having cell phones put away for the day, as Mr. Stowell said, kind of allowed breathing room for us to create the culture here that we've been working so hard to create. And now as a classroom teacher, I get to teach. My students come in, they're engaged. They're still middle school students, so we still have the hurdles that we have every day, but it's great. We get to just meet them where they're at and just deal with them as people, and there's a lot more community in the classroom, a lot more engagement. One other thing I wanted to mention is me and my math department colleagues, we go on a walk every day at lunch just outside of our school, and we walk past the soccer field outside of our school, and you see hundreds of kids running around playing soccer. Some kids are playing kickball. They're even playing tag. They're middle school students out there being kids, and it's really exciting to see that. And it's because of our phone away for the day policy that makes that happen. And I'm just really grateful that I work at a school that we have this policy. It's made a huge difference. Thank you.
Thanks so much to all of our speakers. I love your line, now as a classroom teacher, I get to teach. That may be the slogan for this campaign, right? But it really sums it up, right? Now as a classroom teacher, I get to teach. Please thank all of our speakers, but especially Zoe for speaking today. Yeah, really appreciate it. And we're happy to answer any questions that folks may have. And I'll do my best to repeat the question just so everybody can hear it as well.
Governor,
yes.
All right, you're just listening to the governor's press conference on a ban on Washington students using cell phones in classrooms. It's not banned yet, but Governor Ferguson believes he needs it to happen for K through 12 students to move forward and go back to the original form of learning. This could happen in the next legislative session. We saw Principal of Eagle Staff Zach Stowell speaking, saying he already has a ban in place at Eagle Staff Middle School, and he says kids are thriving. So I know it's something that kids don't want to hear, but it kind of reverts back to
right. But he's also, citing statistics that indicate that distracted students are essentially an epidemic in schools nationwide. A number of states have already moved to ban cell phones in classrooms. So it is a debate that will continue. But you heard from the governor. There's going to be a strong push now to ban cell phones in schools altogether in our state.